Hello, hello! Happy Friday! Thank you for joining me. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery kits. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. It's a time where we can relax and craft together for about an hour in the evenings here, and we work on projects from beginning to end so you can see the entire process and think through it with me so we can make decisions together along the way. Thanks for popping in, everyone. So we are continuing with Block 7 of the Splendid Sampler to Quilt Along. So every Thursday and Friday, I work on the Splendid Sampler 2. Thursdays, we get a new block, and the first 20 blocks are free at thesplendidsampler.com, and it's a mystery. We get a new one every Thursday. And then after the first 20, the book for the Splendid Sampler 2 will be out, and then we'll be working from the book. So if you want to join us on this adventure, it's going to be a great learning tool for everything having to do with quilting. All the different, right now we're doing English paper piecing, there's normal piecing, foundation paper piecing, applique, all sorts of applique, embroidery. If you want like a holistic view of all the different things you can do with quilting, this would be a great project for you. And again, we're working on the whole thing beginning to end, and I have all the videos up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies when we're done. So you can check those next. And tonight we are working on For the Love by Sharon Burgess. Look how pretty. So we started last night and we got our first itty bitty piece of paper piecing done here. I'm gonna finish this little tulip, I think, and I think we might attach it to that center area. But we are gonna work today on this Y seam. So that's kind of the fun special thing we can do with English paper piecing, is a whole pile of Y seams, where that's kind of unusual in normal piecing, just with a sewing machine. So that's what we're gonna do tonight. And I think I'm gonna at least prep all my pieces so they're ready to go, because I probably won't be working on this again for a while, and I want to separate my pieces from the fabric, so we'll get that ready too. So thanks for joining me again, guys, and I'm going to flip you around and we'll get started tonight. Okay, there's my stack of fabric. Okay, time to do some fun English paper piecing again. So here's where we were yesterday. We did our one little row of stitches. We're doing this part here. I actually stitched this side on first instead of this side, so that's why it might be a little confusing. I just did the other side for no apparent reason. But yeah, so next we're gonna do where we join two seams together. So the this seam and this seam to get that Y seam in there. So okay, we have that piece almost ready. We have it cut out. We just don't have it prepped yet. So here we are. So it's already glued down. We're gonna glue baste it. So we're gonna start with this curve again, I think, because we got that curve super duper nice here yesterday, and so I'm just going to do it the same way since that seemed to work really well. So I got my sew line little glue stick. Oh man, it's almost like glued to it. It's just like a normal, like a kid's glue stick. It's got water soluble glue in there, so just like an Elmer's glue stick would totally work. The nice thing about this is that it is really little, so you can get real close in there versus a big one, but that would work too. So I'm just going to get like kind of the seam allowance of where that curve is. I don't want to use too much glue. I just want enough for it to stick. So I'm going to start at this kind of straightaway edge, finger press it all the way. And now for this curve, I'm just going to butt my finger against the little postcard template piece here and just kind of press just a teeny little bit all the way around the curve. Eventually it'll bend like that, but our glue should get it until I'm all the way to the top. There we go. and then I'm going to just continue with that with some finger pressing. But I think our glue dried before we got up to that point, so I'm going to just add another dab of glue there. And let's continue that curve again. There we go. That's our very pretty curve. But yeah, it's those little movements though, just like the little bit and then moving a little bit more and a little bit more. I think that's what gives us kind of the nice curve without a lot of points in it. Without a lot of folds in there. So all right, now we got to do these other sides. So let's do this. This edge, we got this edge, this edge, this edge, and then this edge here. So let's just go around here. I'm gonna get a little bit of glue on the fabric there, and there we are. So again, I want a really nice edge on that fold, or I want a really nice fold along the edge here. Might need to lift it up to help you out. That's what I'm doing here. Don't worry if you have a little tab hanging over. That's gonna move out of the way really easily once we stitch it down, so we don't need to really worry about that. Don't cut it off or anything. It'll be easier if it's there. All right, now this edge, I am getting it on the fabric, but that's fine. It's water soluble, and it's not gonna hurt us at all. It's more important to get that basted down. We did do some thread basting. So this diamond was thread basted, and so you can check out the video from yesterday if you wanted to thread baste it. However, for these particular shapes, I think thread basting might be a little difficult because we do have this curve here. So that would be like a little tough thing to do with thread basting, I think. All right, 2 more edges. My seam allowance is maybe a little bit big. It's a little excessive, but I'd rather have extra seam allowance than not enough, especially if, you know, maybe my fabric moves a little while I am basting. So a little bit bigger than a normal 1/4 inch, I think is good. All right, here's our last one. And the basting is just to temporarily hold something in place. So we're just temporarily holding this fabric in place against our template so we get our nice clean edges. So all right, I think you know, really I could baste this down a little bit more, but we're gonna stitch this right away, so I'm not gonna worry too much about it. And I got Wonder Clips here. I can always hold that down with a Wonder Clip too. There we go. So here's our second piece, and this we need to connect here. Our points that we need to line up are this bottom area. The bottom, you know, these 2 points here need to match the point in the middle where it hits this diamond. Those are 3 points that need to match. And then up at the top, it just kind of slides off into this curve, so we don't really actually have to match anything up there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by this little bit, and then we're gonna rotate and then do this little bit. Antoinette, I think I could definitely cut some of the seam allowance off, especially this one was a little bit big, but I think why bother? It's an extra step that I don't really need to do. So it's not in the way or anything. It gives more of a surface to glue down. I think it's just going to be fine. Just when I cut out the other pieces, maybe I won't cut them so big. But like I said, I think it's better to have them a little bit bigger than the 1/4 inch. Then you don't want it too small. Definitely not smaller than the 1/4 inch. All right, so we need to sew this piece to this piece first. So those pieces have to go right side together. So I'm going to remove that clip, and we're just going to hold these right side together. And I'm going to just flop this out of the way however it needs to be. We do not have to worry about that right now. But what I'm worried about is getting this point lined up and that point lined up. And once I do that, then I think I'll just throw a clip in there. There we go. So that was our first, those are the first pieces we want to line up. So I'm going to grab my thread, and I think I may have enough to do this whole little bit. So I have about maybe 10 inches worth here. That should be enough to go from here to there. So I'm gonna start with my knicker knot. So this is kind of what we learned yesterday. It's just a nice way to have a knot at the connecting point. So you really want to have a knot or go through several times, like go through the same spot with like 2 or 3 loops to really hold it in place. You're going to want to do that at every joining point. So here, we're going to do it here, and we'll do it on top where it connects near the curve. But all right, to start out, let's just go through. I don't have a knot. I'm just going to let this dangle. And I'm going to go through one more time. Hopefully my Wonder Clip doesn't get in my way. And this time is just to kind of hold it tight. And then now I'm going to do the knicker knot. So it's a special little knot that we'll do at the corners. So I'm going to go halfway through with my needle. And so there's a thread that's coming out of the fabric there. I'm going to put that to my left. And there's also a thread coming out of the eye of the needle, right? So there's the two threads there. But it's the threads coming out of the eye of the needle and then the thread coming out of the fabric. So I'm going to put the thread coming out of the fabric. I'm going to go from the left to the right underneath the needle. So I'm just going underneath the needle, and then I'm going to bring it around and just hold it with my thumb here. And then I'm going to take the thread coming out of the needle, the eye of the needle. I'm going to go from right to left, underneath, and then back around. And I'm going to hold that in place down here as well. And then I'm going to pull through, and it should be making a little loop as we go. Here's that loop. It's kind of like a twisted figure 8. And we're just going to pull that tight. And that is our little knicker knot. And it's a tight little knot that will hold that in place for us. You know, again, you could just do a couple little loops, but that knicker knot's kind of fun. And it's fun to say. So, all right, let's do our little whip stitch. This is maybe a little too less thread. I could have used like maybe 4 more inches here, but it was already threaded on the needle. So I'm like, yeah, let's use it. So I am getting, let's get in focus there. I am getting just a couple threads from both sides, and I can feel the paper. I can feel the paper edge, but I'm not going through. I'm not going through the paper at all. And we're just gonna, oops, sorry guys. We're gonna just do a whip stitch around this edge, which just means I'm always starting at the bottom and going from bottom to top. Some people start from the top to bottom, but it's just important to go from the same side every single time. Oh yes, so Jane, last night's video, yeah, last night we had some technical difficulties for sure. Facebook conked out and I had to restart. So I do have that video up on YouTube though. So if you go to youtube.com/penguinandfishmovies, penguin and fish movies, all the videos are there, including yesterday's video. Oh, you're driving your semi tonight. Oh, so you can't watch. You're just listening. Listening about whip stitches. I always thought it'd be funny if I did this. So one thing that's happening in video land is people are doing podcasts of their videos as well. So whenever they make a video, they just turn it into an audio podcast at the same time. And I was thinking that would just be the weirdest thing because it would just be me talking about like how to do a knicker knot and stuff, just kind of silly. But maybe be a little relaxing listening to other people craft. All right, so we're gonna do another knicker knot here. So we're going to go from left to right underneath with the part that's connected to the thread that's connected to the fabric, and then right to left underneath with the part that's connected to the eye of the needle, and then pull through. And really, I could use a little bit more thread for this knicker knot. Oh no, you can listen, but now, oh, now you get to watch. Oh, funny. I'm fun even to listen to. Oh, that's so funny. All right, I'm gonna take the clip off since we have this first part done. So we've done that for the first part of the Y. So if we unfold, zoop, there we go. Our first little bit's connected. So now we're going to continue up the side, and that's going to be our next bit. So you might discover that it does not want to do that very well. We are actually going to have to bend this template to force it in place a little bit. So don't hesitate to do that. It's only our little cardboard pieces, and you know what? We're going to throw them all away when we're done anyway. So I'm going to do my best to match up the two edges. So right sides together still, and then I'm just going to bend this other piece so it lies a little bit flatter. It's not, I didn't perfectly bend it, it's just kind of hovering there. So that's perfectly fine. All right, so there we go. Let's nudge it up a little bit, and I'm gonna just throw the wonder clip on the end. Makes my hands a little less tired. I don't have to grab it so hard. So even though we did a knicker knot from the yellow piece to the other yellow piece, like the petal to the other petal, we are joining another point. Even though it's right at the same point, we're now joining the point of this flower, the leaf part, the part with all these printed flowers, the diamond. We are connecting that to this petal piece. So we're actually, even though we just did a knot from the petal to the petal, we're going to do a knot from the diamond point to the petal point. So we're doing a whole nother knot here. And we'll do another, I accidentally grabbed this little thread in here. We're going to do another knicker knot. Sometimes I like to just go through, loop through once, like how I just did there, just to kind of pull things together and line it all up first. But now we'll do the knicker knot. So going through and so left to right with the part connected to the fabric, and then right to left with the part that is connected to the eye of the needle, the thread, and pull through. All right, knicker knot. Let's go through the rest of these whip stitches. You're at Joann's today and saw a teen buying llama-themed fleece for PJ bottoms. Oh, that's so neat. Oh, Kathy, I can't see the rest of your comment on here, so I'll have to look when we're done. That's cool. Isn't that neat that kids are sewing and making stuff and embroidering, and I just love that. Crafting is definitely for everyone. All right, so we don't really have to match up any points here, so we're just going to stitch to the end of our diamond point, throw in another knicker knot, and then this piece is done. So the closer you stitch your stitches, in theory, the stronger your piece is going to be, because it's closer to being similar to machine stitching, the closer your stitches are. But I don't think you should have to worry about how strong this is going to hold up. There's going to be so many stitches in here, and you're still going to quilt it down in some way. So if you're worried about the strength of your hand stitching versus machine stitching, I don't think you really have anything to worry about. Oh, you're so addicted to English paper piecing. Joan, it is a chill out craft, that's for sure. And I think that's why it's so popular. Well, first of all, you can bring it everywhere because it's such little pieces. You can fussy cut really easily. Like we put that, I'll show you when we open this back up, but we put that purple and yellow flower right in the center of the diamond. And actually we could do that for all our diamonds. All our diamonds could have that purple flower in, which would be kind of cool. But just this hand stitching just is so relaxing. You can just let like your chest and your brain just settle. Like it just is nice. That hand stitching does that. Okay, let's do our knicker knot again. We're at the end of the point here. There's a grandma and granddaughter doing the Splendid Sampler too, Bonnie says, and you saw on Pat Sloan's site. Oh, I can't read the rest of that. That is so cool. See, everyone can do this. So, all right, from left to right, underneath, and then right to left with this piece. And I just have enough to get around the needle. What a fun gift for the two of them to do that with each other. That's just so cool. All right, we're gonna put, here's Zeb again. I'm gonna throw my needle back in there for now. Let's trim this. I don't need that long. Boop. And then we can unfold. And here's where we had to bend this piece a little bit. And we can just kind of fold that back and we're good to go. So there is our first little tulip piece. So here we go. That's this piece here. Our first of 4 tulip pieces. And we got that Y stitch done too. So 3 pieces together. Again, that's really one of the beauties of English paper piecing is that we can do these Y stitches really easily. And it's just really fun. So you can get like weird, intricate pieces together, like these 3 pieces, and just make really kind of fun, intricate designs. But there's our little purple and gold flower in there. So, all right, I would like to prep the rest of my pieces. So normally I wouldn't do like just 3 pieces like this before I've prepped all the pieces. Normally I would prep all the pieces first and then I would do all the hand stitching. You can do whatever feels right for you. But now, just because I know I'm not gonna be able to work on this after today because it'll be a new week and we'll be getting a new block. So I want to at least prep all these pieces. And the first thing I'm going to do, even before I cut all these out, just so I don't forget, I'm going to write an F on all of them so I know what the front and the back are, because it's important because I have mirror pieces. You know, this one's on the left and this one's on the right. I don't want to accidentally flip one over and then get like, you know, 6 of these pieces and only like 2 of these pieces. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to write F on there. Front, and that will match the front of the fabric. So you can see on the back of here, it's the other side of the postcard. Really, I could just remember that, with all the photos on the back and the white part is the front. But like I said, I'm not going to work on this again for a while, and I might not remember that. So we are going to just write an F on all of these, and let's cut all these out. Today, I think I want to do one more piece. I'm going to do this square piece and attach it to this already before doing more tulips, just because I really want to attach that piece. So what we're going to do first is I'm just going to just rough cut all these out, just because that's going to be easier. Oh, thanks, Judy. You're doing yours tomorrow. Awesome. Well, I hope this helps a little bit. And, you know, there's tons of different ways that people do all this stuff. And I know there's a lot of, there's other designers from the Splendid Sampler too, and other teachers from the Splendid Sampler too that have their tips and tricks on their blogs and stuff. So, you know, make sure to follow the Splendid Sampler Facebook page because there's a lot of good info on there. And then you can see what everyone else is doing for their blocks as well. But yeah, that's a lot of times that's what I do before we come on here in the evenings. If I'm not sure about something, I'll see how some of the other designers worked on it or what they did to get some ideas. Maybe in a couple of weeks we can do a Saturday session again. Yeah, that was fun. So, gosh, that was only this last Saturday, wasn't it? Feels like forever ago, but this last Saturday we had a special Saturday sewing session. I only usually do these live videos on weeknights, every weeknight, but we did a Saturday session just because I missed a block and I wanted to get the block done. And so we worked on that a little bit. Oh, Grace, you just completed embroidering the crafty kitty on the kitchen towel. Awesome! Oh, that's so cool. Seeing all the others. Oh, you can tell you need practice. Everyone needs practice at something, Gretchen, for sure. But that's what's good. You need practice and you're doing it. That's, I think, something to be proud of. You could just say, I'm not good at it and then never do anything about it. But, you know, we're making these blocks, so you're putting in the practice, and sometimes that's all it needs. It needs some practice, and then it all comes together. All right. I am trying to cut these really, really nicely because, you know, we are using those nice edges for our piece. And I'm also cutting a hair inside of the line. So I'm cutting towards the inside just because when we traced our piece, my pencil line was kind of on the outside of the piece. So I need to cut on the inside of the piece to get our right size piece. If I cut it too large, then my points and everything are gonna start to not match up because I'm gonna have too much space there. So it really is important to get these the size that the original template actually was, and I'm doing that again by just cutting just on the inside of these tracing lines. Oh, you enjoyed the Saturday session also. That's awesome. I like doing the Saturday sessions, sewing sessions every once in a while too, just because it's a different time. So when I did the Saturday session last time, it was at like 10:30 a.m. So not our 8:30 p.m.s that we usually do. And that allows some people who can't make this time, it allows them a chance to watch live too. And it's fun to watch live because then we can all talk to each other versus watching afterwards. Especially if you have a question or something. Okay, I'm going around that curve really carefully. So there's a lot of prep, you know, we're cutting out all these templates and we have to cut out every one. We can't reuse these guys that are already in there because we're gonna keep them in here for the entire block. So we need enough for every little tulipy shape. Tulipy. That's a good word. Tulipy. Oh, you're 7 blocks behind. That's fun, Jennifer. Yeah, it's gonna be fun catch up. Well, with this one, I'll be 4 blocks behind. Used to love the 10:30 p.m. when you lived in the East Coast. Oh, but now you're in Arizona and the time's off. Yeah, so I used to do these used to be at 9:30 p.m. Central Time, which would be 10:30 East Coast time. But then I changed my morning routine and started getting up a whole lot earlier, and that I couldn't stay up that late anymore. So we adjusted a little bit, and I think more people can get in on this time now that it's not so late. But yeah, we used to do these at 9:30 p.m. Central. All right, another diamond. It looks like we have 3 more pieces here. Ooh, and we're going to end on our little square, and that's what I'm going to do next is the square. Then we'll get all 3 pieces of fabric in at least so we can kind of see what it's going to look like. Our last little pretty curve. So I'm gonna punch the holes in these next, and those holes are for later so we can more easily pop out our pieces. See, so there's a hole punch there, and we should be able to just take like a needle or a pin later and put it in that hole. Or maybe you can see here a little bit better, but we should be able to just pop out our, see, I'm already kind of doing it, can pop out our little paper pieces way easier than kind of digging. Otherwise you'd have to dig in here and try and get the little edge. But if you have this little hole, you can just pop it right out. So that's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna punch holes in all of these. So they're prepped. And then I'm gonna do that square because I wanna attach the square. And if there's some time yet, then we'll put some fabric. We'll cut out the rest of our fabric. Well, actually, I definitely want to cut out the rest of the fabric for these pieces because I need to use that fabric again. Oh, you were afraid that you'd lose a little pieces, but you had an empty plastic box for it. Oh, that's awesome. Yep, you definitely need a cute little storage system when you're doing paper piecing. Okay, scraps, and then we just have this one. We got just our one more little square to do. Again, if you want to get real picky, you can cut these out with an X-Acto blade or like a craft knife and a metal ruler if you want, but that sounds like a lot of work. Okay, so now let's punch the holes in all of them. I got my little hole punch here. I love this hole punch because it's only an 1/8 inch punch, so it makes like these cute itty bitty holes. So I wrote the F for the front. I kind of put them off center because I'm going to punch the hole kind of right in the center. They're like that. So I'm going to put this guy aside because that's going to be the piece I work on next. But then let's get all these. And then we will be on our way to having these prepped. It's nice to just have all these papers ready to go. And then you can just carry scraps of fabric along and a teeny tiny scissors, just if you want to do this on the go. And trim little pieces of fabric as you go. And these will be all ready. So, all right, there's our stack. Now let's do this little square because I want to attach it to this guy tonight yet. Make our little tulip. So we're doing the square with this color here. And we have the opportunity to fussy cut like one of these really pretty decorative things that are going on here. So let's maybe pick from over here. We could do like a little, it could be a little lighter with a little flourish, or we could grab, oh, we need enough for our 1/4 inch around too yet. Ooh, this is kind of pretty. We could get a little bit of that flower in. We wouldn't be able to center it. We don't have to center it though either. This is kind of pretty. You know, I think, you know, I kind of just like some of this decorative stuff. Why don't we try and get this little guy here in? We won't get, it won't be centered because if I center it, then my seam allowance is going to be pretty small. But I can get it maybe a little off center there. Oh, I got a little nick out of here, but I think we'll be okay. Yeah, let's keep looking. I'm getting picky now. Here we can get it down here too. That might be better. Let's go right there. So I'm going to flip it back around to the back side. And so remember, this is the F, so that means the front of the fabric. This is the back of the piece, so it matches the front of the fabric and the back of the fabric. Let's just go so that one is in the center there. So I'm going to grab my glue, and we're just going to throw a little dab of glue in there so it can stay long enough for us to trim it. There we go. And I'm going to get my scissors out, and we're just going to give it, like I said earlier, a hair bigger than the 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to be stitching this on right away, and a square is pretty easy, so I can get I'll be safe closer to the 1/4 inch, but some of those other pieces I want to make sure that I have a little bit more than a 1/4 inch. So, all right, we're done with this fabric because this is the only piece that has that fabric. That's kind of why I want to prep my pieces yet tonight, because I want to get my fabric out of the way. So let's glue base this. That's our super easy, fast way to do that. So just along edge number 1, fold it there, and then finger press the rest of the way. Rotate, do the next edge. It's going to be a little easier, I think, if I pick it up. Whatever's easiest, if it's easier for you on the table or picking it up. I think to kind of get this fold nice, so it's right up in there. It's easier for me to hold it flat and then fold it over. So up in the air like this, and then I'm just dragging my finger over that edge to get that nice. All right, and let's finger press the edge there, and our last little one here. I'll pop that closed. This one we'll put on the table and do. Make sure we got that nice sharp edge. And there it is. Oh, look, so we kind of fussy cut, so this little flower is in the middle. It's pretty, it's kind of going up that way. Not that it appears really fussy cut, but I know it was a little fussy cut. I mean, you could put like a little, if you have a cute decorative thing in your fabric, like, you know, a little bird or something, you could put that right in the middle, and, you know, that would be kind of something that's more obviously fussy cut than this, but I like it. So let's attach these 2 fellers here. So I don't have to worry about where it's joining right here. I'm just going to treat this as one long row. So all I have to do is put right sides together and match up that seam, and it should be the same length. So here's the points matching up to this point. If I did accidentally cut my template pieces too big, this is where you might start to see pieces not matching up perfectly. But the nice thing is fabric is really malleable, so if you just stretch and pull a little bit, then things will start to line up, and when the whole piece is done and the paper is taken out of it, it's all just going to kind of meld together. So don't worry too much if it doesn't match perfectly. Like, I can tell it's kind of angling down a little bit at the point and coming up. That's not going to matter at all. I'm just going to, when I stitch it, it's all just going to come together. So I'm lining up the edge, matching those points. Let's find Mr. Wonder Clip again and grab that edge. All right, that's held together. I need my straw needle again here. And look how bent it is, that poor guy. But I love it. It's just the right size, that needle for me. And grab a little bit of thread. I barely need any though, so let's roll that back up a little bit. All right, I got it. Oh, maybe that was not quite enough. That's about like, I have about like 7 inches of thread here. It's so funny. I barely ever work with this small amount of thread, but this is all you need. We're just doing that one side. There we go. Oh, pulled it right out right away. There we are. Okay, so again, let's thread will go right through the 2 points there. If this is in your way, this extra little flaps, then you can just move it. it's not going to matter. I'm just going to kind of go through all these layers right here. And again, you're only grabbing a little edge of the fabric. You're not grabbing the paper at all. You might find out that you're nicking the paper a little bit. That's fine. Especially if you glue based, sometimes the edge is so close and glued on that you might find that you're grabbing the paper a little bit, but that's okay. It might be just a hair more difficult to pull the paper out when you're done, but it should still be okay. So there, I'm going to go around that once just to hold it kind of in place, and now let's do our little knicker knot. So I'm going through those edges again. So the part that's connected, the thread that's connected to the fabric, I'm going from left to right and underneath, and just holding it down. And the part that's connected to the needle, the eye of the needle, I'm going right to left and underneath. And then we can just pull through. And there's our little knot. A little knicker knot. It's funny, knicker knots, that's one of those things that we use so many times during the first Splendid Sampler, but the moment I stop using it regularly, I totally forget how to do it again. So I have to YouTube some videos. But once you see it again, then it's like, oh yeah. One of those things you need to be always doing to remember how to do, at least for me. Oh, like right here, I'm really close to this edge, so I can barely grab any threads, but that's all I need. I just need 2 or 3 threads. So I'm using a whip stitch here. You could also use a ladder stitch. I know some people like using a ladder stitch just because you can hide your stitches a little bit more. Another thing you can do if you are worried about your stitches being seen on the front is you could you do this. It's kind of like a whip stitch where we're going from one side to the other like that, but we're going to do it in 2 separate motions. Actually, it's a little different than a whip stitch. We're going to go from the one side, and we're kind of staying towards the inside of the piece here. And we're going to come kind of straight up, and we'll do that stitch, and then we'll go directly across and go from the back to front again. And what this is doing, it's kind of like a whip stitch, but we're grabbing more of the back of the fabric than we would if we just went straight across like this. And that will hide your stitches even more. And we'll dig into that a little bit more as we work on this project, but since this is, for this block, we're just going to keep going across. So in theory, I could maybe do another knicker knot. Maybe I will. I'll throw in a knicker knot here just because this is where we're kind of joining the, the 2 pieces that come together here. We're joining that to this flat piece, so wouldn't hurt to throw in a knicker knot here. So, alrighty, there we go. Oh, I need a new needle, and this is why it's getting bent is from this English paper piecing, but it's just perfect, this straw needle. All right, there's my knicker knot right in the middle there. And I think I can remove my clip now. And get to the end, and we'll throw in another knicker knot to grab get those 2 corners together. And we will have another piece attached. Makes me happy. And then I do want to see if I can quickly, how are we doing in time? Oh, we got like 15 minutes yet. So I'm going to quickly prep the rest of my pieces because then I can store them and they'll be ready to go next time. I probably won't thread base, or I probably won't base them all, glue base them all, but I'll get the pieces cut out. And they'll be like attached with that little piece of glue. So I think it'll be ready to go for the next time we stitch. Okay, left to right, Ooh, we're getting a little squiggled and tangled here. Maybe I should have used a little more thread, but I think we'll make it left to right, or right to left. I gotta say it out loud so I remember it. There we go. We get our little twisty knot in there. That's what it should look like. And pull that tight. And that's all we need to do. Throw the needle into the pincushion, cut that guy. And the best part, gonna flip it down. So there we go. You can kind of see here, I didn't match up my points perfectly. Like this one looks a hair over, the square looks a hair over there, and it looks a hair over on this point too. But I can just kind of pull it this way, and once we sew all the rest of the pieces together, it's gonna totally come together. I'm not gonna have to worry about that really. So if you find that you're a little off, that's not gonna matter. But look how cute! I love it. Just a cute, this is our first, that's our kind of our first little shape here. So next up, we're gonna make all the rest of these little 3 tulip shapes, and then we can attach them again. And we're gonna attach it just how we did that Y seam. So we'll attach the square first, and then we'll connect those little seams. So square, and then connect where those 2 little petal parts come together there. So all right, let's prep the rest of our pieces real quick here. Let's do all the diamonds first. Oh, good, Vicki. I'm glad this is helpful for you. All right. Here is that fabric. So we fussy cut this little guy in the middle, and we could do that again, but I kind of would rather not waste fabric finding all of those little bits. Like here's another one right here. I don't want to cut way in here because I don't want to waste some of this fabric. So we're just gonna keep cutting. I'll try and frame a flower in the middle of each one though. We could do that. So like I could go right here maybe. Yeah, we'll do that. So we'll fussy cut our flowers still, but not the same flower. Just enough to have it work. Ooh, that's maybe a little too much glue. So I'm gonna just plop all these down. Remember, I still need my enough seam allowance. Oops, sorry guys. I still need enough seam allowance. I'm gonna just glue them all on right away. What about this pretty purple one here? Yeah, I don't think that'll give me enough seam allowance. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna cut them out as I go. I'm just worried about getting enough seam allowance. I don't want to accidentally place another one too close. Okay, that piece is prepped enough. Let's get, can I squeeze one in here? Yeah, probably not. Let's just keep going along this edge. Ooh, we could get an itty bitty one in there. That'd be kind of fun. Or maybe this pink. Let's get this pink one in here. Yeah, he's a little close to the edge. Oh, no, he's not. We can just angle it a little different. How about like that? Trim him out of here. Twist. I'm at least trying to get my 1/4 inch in here. Ooh, maybe cut this one a little small, but we'll be good. Your needle looks like mine. You can't bring yourself to start a new one. It's just the perfect thinness for English paper piecing. It's nice and thin, and it's that long straw needle. So I love the length, and I love how thin it is. So it's been hard to stop using it. This one's pretty. Let's do this one. All right, this is our last diamond. Did I glue them? Oh yeah, I messed up. You're right. The front was supposed to, You're right. The front, I was supposed to match with the front of the fabric. I did them. I did them upside down. You're totally right. So let's do this one. Correct. Luckily they're the same. They're a mirror image, so it's not gonna matter. But it could matter a ton on a different project. So that was a good catch. Yeah, I did that wrong for sure. There, this one's right though. I wanted to match that F with the front of the fabric. So must be late and it must be Friday. But that was a good catch. So I'm gonna just leave them, but let's make sure we do the other ones right, because the other ones will be a problem if we don't do those ones right. But since these ones are all the same, no matter what, is the right and wrong side, we're okay. These diamonds. You don't have to be perfect with these seam allowances. Oh, Gretchen, so I put an F on these. So here, it's easier illustrated with these. So I put an F. Oop, let's get a different one. There we go. So here's one of our flower petals, right? The left and right side. So I put an F on the front so I can remember that this is the front of the template and this is the back of the template. So F for front, and I want that to be the same as the fabric. So the front of the fabric and the back of the fabric. So I wanted to match the F up so that it's the front of the fabric. So like front of the fabric, back of the fabric, back of the template, front of the template. And it's important to do with English paper piecing because if you do it wrong, like if I would accidentally do this one like this, and then this one with the front to the back, so this one is wrong and this one was correct, then we would, when we were done with the fabric, we would end up with two shapes that are like this, and then they don't match anymore, right? Like it's supposed to be like this. So we would end up with the wrong shapes. We'd end up with two of them that way. So that's why it's really important for your templates to know what's the top and the bottom. And I did it wrong here. You know, this is the right, so that the front, the F matches the front. But luckily, these diamonds are the same, whether they're front or back, so it's not going to matter. But these ones, it would matter quite a bit. So, all right, we got our three little diamonds ready. So we're done. We're done with the flowery fabric as well. And then all we have left is to prep our little yellow gingham fabric. So I'm putting the right side down. And so now I got to remember the F side is down. And I could have put an R for right side or wrong side. So the front, so I want all of these down like this. And you know what? We could place them all and then glue them. So there we go. This is probably plenty of space in between. So let's glue them all down at once. Shouldn't I have two more of these? Huh, I am not sure we traced enough of these. Because this is all I have left here. Ha 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 ha. I think we are missing two pieces. Did we not cut out two pieces, or did I not trace two pieces? I think I did not trace two pieces, right? Because I need 4 of these. I think we're missing 2. So I gotta, let's trace 2 more of these quick. So one way and one the other way. Huh, that seems odd. Yeah, I need 8 total, and we already used up 2, so I should have 6 left, and it looks like I only have 4. Unless it's hiding somewhere. Oh, here's one. Wait a second, I have some missing here somewhere. All right, let's do a little search here. This one was the other template. Did they land on the ground? Huh. Well, weird. Okay, so, well, I guess we'll have to cut one out. Let's match them up just so we can see them. Okay. Here's a pair. Here's a pair. And here's one. So I need one more of those, unless it's totally, oh, here it is. Ha-ha, found it. We didn't cut that one out yet. Man, I was like, did I just count wrong last night? And I thought maybe someone would have caught it if I didn't do enough last night. We just lost one. Good thing I didn't throw that pile of scraps away. All right, couple more cuts. We got to punch this one then too. All right, now we got our other 3 pairs. There we go. And let's punch this guy too. Okay, now move the scraps out of the way. Okay, now that we have them all, let's get our fabric back. Are you using the fabric scissors for cutting the templates? Oh, I hope. Did I do that? I don't think I did that. No, I'm using a paper scissors for the paper templates, and then my nice fabric scissors here for the fabric. You're new here. What kind of paper am I using for the templates? I am using just a postcard that I have. You can, just something, you want something thicker than normal paper because you don't want it to bend. You want to be able to bend it, but you don't want it to you don't want the tips to easily bend because I want all these nice points. I'm not going to be able to have all these nice sharp points if I'm using just typewriter paper, printer paper. So like a postcard or a manila folder would work really well. You could, I'm going to glue these down as I go. You could use the postcard, or one of those little postcards that are in magazines. That would work well. Just something, or I know a lot of people use cereal boxes. Just that thin cardboard. I need enough space in there for my seam allowance. Yeah, cardstock. Oh, a recipe card. Yep, that would work. Oop. I think I got away from me. Yeah, it has to be stiff. We're just gonna fit these how they go. You know, if you're doing stripes or something, you could make sure that they're all in the right direction and then they'll all match up. But I don't really care what angles these are at. Oop. I think I'm gonna try and keep it kind of horizontal and vertical. But other than that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's the last one. We'll throw them over here so we're not wasting fabric. I did one. I should have maybe pressed this, but we're going to press the whole thing when we're done, so I don't think it's going to matter so much. All right, I think we'll just trim all the way across here. And then we'll get our pieces already. But there, now I can be done with this fabric as well. Yep, Cheryl, I punched the holes in them because that will help get them out of the fabric later. So I can just stick a needle in there and I should be able to pop them right out. If you're glue basting, you might need to scrape the glue away a little bit first and then pop them out. But it is really helpful to have that hole to pop them out so you're not digging in at the edge. But yep, that's what the holes are for. Not necessary, but does make it a hair easier. I'm just gonna separate these, rough cut them, and then I'll trim them a little bit more. What do you think about making each flower a different color? I think that would look amazing. Actually, in the instructions, she has one where she does 2 different colors, and that's awfully pretty too. I just really liked the look of all of them the same. I thought it looked like a big, almost like a poinsettia with leaves, and I thought that was kind of cool. But them looking like tulips are really kind of fun too. So yeah, I think go for it. Whatever you want to do, it's gonna automatically look nice, I bet. Yeah, you can definitely play around and experiment. So just trimming these up quick, and I'm gonna just leave them like this, and I'm just gonna store them like this. If it falls off, like if my glue, it's attached with that little dab of glue, if it falls off, it's gonna be fine. I can just reattach it. The piece will still be ready for me to use. And I'm gonna I store all my pieces in, or I store my unfinished Splendid Sampler 2 blocks in a binder in a little plastic sleeve. So these are just gonna all be stacked up like this in the little plastic sleeve. And then when I'm ready to work on this again, I will just pull them out. I will glue baste them down. I could glue baste them at this point already, but we are getting close to we're actually a little past our normal finish time. So I am gonna just store them like this. But I'm happy I got this far, because then I have these fabric pieces prepped, and then I can put the bulk of the fabric away. I don't have to store my big fabric pieces with this, so I don't forget what fabric I used, or I don't have to store the fabric with it. The pieces that I need are here and ready to go. Even if they fall off, it'll still work. I think, let's get this little angle. All right, one more. And that's why I wanted to do the square right away too, because then that piece is done. Then I only have to worry about all these little yellow pieces. Use a clip. Oh, that's a great idea. I will do that, Robin. So Robin suggests use a clip to hold them together, and I think I will do just that. I have plenty of Wonder clips. I can just store them clipped together with the Wonder clip and have that in my bin. That'll protect it from them being jostled around too, I think. So this might be a little, oh, you know what? Let's just grab them by the fabric. I think that will hold it just fine. You know what? Maybe we'll throw, I don't need another one. There we go. So held together. There. So that will be ready to go. I will keep that with the pattern just like this in my binder. And of course, our little piece that we have done. So adorable. Isn't it sweet? Like this, it looks like a little tulip. Yay. I love them. All right, guys, I'm going to flip you around and we will call it an evening. Hello, hello. So English paper piecing, I love it. I think it's one of the most relaxing little bits. I mean, if you like hand piecing, not everyone likes hand piecing. It can be tough on the hands for sure. So this is something I can't do for long. So this little hour that we're doing it, I probably wouldn't do it longer than that, just because it just hurts my hands after a little while. But for this hour, it's just a great, fun thing just relaxing thing to do. And that's what I like about embroidery too. It's just a nice little chill time, a little different than sewing on the sewing machine. But there we go, English paper piecing. And then when we're done with this whole flower, we're gonna applique the whole thing onto our white background fabric. So you know what, I should probably cut our background fabric before I put this away too. And I'll just do that. My background fabric is gonna be this white. So I'm gonna cut oh, look how cute. I'm gonna cut a 7-inch piece of fabric. We are gonna end up with 6.5-inch fabric, or fabric square, but when you cut it a little bit bigger, like the 7 inches, then it gives you a little room for it to kind of shrink up as we're appliquing it on. So I will cut a 7-inch piece out of this. And yeah, I'm gonna cut it 7 inches, Elena. So I'll cut another 7-inch piece out of this to store with the rest of the project, the rest of this block, the rest of block 7, because that would be annoying later to be like, wait a sec, where's that square of fabric? So I will cut that tonight yet, but I'll just do that on my own. We're just cutting that 7-inch piece of fabric. So thanks again, guys. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. I will be here getting some work done. Not traveling this weekend, so that's nice. And I will see you guys again on Monday. I think we will be finishing up the free motion quilting on our charming chevrons quilt on Monday. I'm so stoked. So I will see you then, and I will get this up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies when we're done, or when we're done here tonight. So have a fabulous weekend. Good night.